We'll call the committee to order, and on this committee is myself, Councillor O'Connor, Councillor Wendy Bosch, Councillor Toole, and Mayor Clayton. And I need a motion for someone to, Councillor Bosch.
I move that we accept the agenda as presented.
That motion's in order.
Councillor Bosch in favor.
Okay, that carried unanimously. We'll now move to our delegation portion, and we'll invite up the Art Gallery of Grande Prairie. When you do come up, please introduce yourself, and you have 5 minutes to present your report, and then we'll ask questions from council to you. You can pull the mic closer to yourself.
Okay. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Jessica Groom. I am the Chief Curator and Executive Director at the Art Gallery of Grande Prairie, and it's my honor to present to you this morning. Thank you, Mayor Clayton, councillors, and everybody from the city for being here today. I can't yet see my presentation on the screen, so I'll just wait for that to come up.
Technology.
Doesn't always work well. I'm happy to move forward if everybody's comfortable with reading it from just the agenda package. We can proceed. So I'll try to make this as fast as I can. I was not aware of how long I had to present, so it might be a little bit too long for this. But what I'm going to...
Don't feel the pressure, so go ahead.
Okay, perfect, excellent. So what I'm presenting to you is a summary of what the Art Gallery of Grande Prairie achieved in 2023. And the Art Gallery of Grande Prairie consists of 8 employees, and we're open every day of the week, very accessible to the community, and all of our programming and exhibitions are free of charge. We know that the arts are important to Albertans, as 70.3% of Albertans attended arts and culture activities for 2022-2023. 61.7% of Albertans attended a live performance. 34.9% of Albertans attended a visual arts event. 33% of Albertans attended an arts and culture festival fair, including cultural performances and events. 54% of Albertans participated in arts activities or training in 2022-2023. 36.9% of Albertans participated in the visual arts, including painting, crafting, and photography, and 24.9% participated in performing arts, including singing, playing a musical instrument, and dancing. And I just wanted to bring these statistics to you today, as the Art Gallery of Grande Prairie encompasses most of these things for members of our community. So the way that we measure our success is through social, cultural, and economic measures. For social impacts, the gallery builds community engagement and exchange, promotes education, learning, and awareness, supports local artists, advocates social inclusion and diverse points of view, as well as fosters creativity. As an example of this, we can look to our education department, which last year had over 5,000 participants in their programs and over 2,000 participants in community art projects. They also have a program in which they deliver free creativity kits to the community. And last year, they delivered over 6,000 free of charge into the community. So this is primarily for schools and other large groups. At the Art Gallery of Grande Prairie, we rely heavily on volunteers. Last year, we had 7, and they worked for over 360 hours at the gallery. An example of the kinds of things that volunteers do for us is they often work with the education department, and they are instrumental in preparing the creativity kits that I mentioned before. The Art Gallery of Grande Prairie also is dedicated to truth and reconciliation. We are providing a platform actively for sharing Indigenous artists, exhibitions, and programming within our community. And a great example of this that we brought into the community for last year was the Powwow Ochiwin, the Origins exhibition that was last summer. For cultural impacts, the gallery enriches the quality of life for citizens, promotes intercultural dialogue and understanding, preserves cultural heritage, allows space for social commentary and reflection, encourages inspiration, innovation, and collaboration. Last year, we had a total of 8 exhibitions at the gallery. We hosted 66 artists, and the total number of artworks exhibited by Grande Prairie artists was 167. The Art Gallery of Grande Prairie also holds a large permanent collection. Last year, the exhibition of our permanent collection was called Double-Sided, and it displayed artworks from 4 local artists from the collection. Our collection holds about 850 artworks, the majority of which are from regional artists. Every year, the Art Gallery of Grande Prairie provides programming for schools in Grande Prairie free of charge. One of the highlights from 2023 was a 2-week residency for students of the Holy Cross Catholic Church, totaling 20 classes and about 348 students served. I'll skip that one. For cultural impacts, we also have the TREX program, and that is the Traveling Exhibition Program, which is also partially funded by the Foundation Culture of the Arts. For 2023-2024, the TREX program served many communities, and they also go directly into libraries, school, and community centers throughout the region. This year, the TREX program has also partnered with the Grande Prairie Museum as a venue, and last year, the total number of attendees was 121,714. For economic impacts, Grande Prairie is a hub for many northern communities in Peace Country. The gallery promotes positive economic growth in several ways. Promotes tourism and travel in northwestern Alberta, collaborates with community partners such as NWP to create opportunities for students and recent graduates, coordinates relevant exhibitions in conjunction with regional seasonal events such as the Grande Prairie Traditional Powwow and Alberta Culture Days. Last year, the majority of our funding did come from the City of Grande Prairie, and that equaled 34.8% of our funding, and that was second to provincial funding, which is 33.8%. The third largest funder was other municipalities, such as the Municipal District of Greenview and the County of Grande Prairie. And then smaller amounts of our funding come from fundraising, federal, and other initiatives. So thanks to $307,242 in annual operational funding from the City of Grande Prairie, the Art Gallery of Grande Prairie remains completely free to the public for all programming and exhibitions, maintains a high level of quality as one of the largest cultural, educational, and historic preservation organizations in the region, and adds substantial value to social, cultural, and economic quality of life for Grande Prairie residents. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Executive Director Jesse Groom. We'll now ask, are there any questions from? Go ahead, Councillor Bosch.
Thank you, Chair O'Connor. Thanks, Jessica, for the report. Really good. Just one question in regards to hours. Has that changed that Thursdays are not open late anymore?
Oh, if I typed something incorrectly in there, that's not true. So we are open from 10 until 9 p.m. Sorry if I typed
I just
that.
wanted the public to know.
Yes, we are definitely open until 9 o'clock on Thursdays still. Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Jessica. That was a great report. So thank you very much for what you're doing for the community.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And we'll now call up the Center for Creative Arts.
Thank you, Councillor. We did not plan to present on the same day, nor did we plan to both wear yellow.
Good coordination.
But aren't the arts just full of sunshine?
Please introduce yourself, Candace.
Oh, my name is Candace Hook. I'm the Executive Director at the Center for Creative Arts.
Thank you.
I'm okay to proceed with my report?
You go on.
Perfect. So as many of you know, the Center for Creative Arts serves our community through affordable visual art and craft programs and events. Each year, thousands of residents and visitors to our community enjoy the center for hands-on programming. We offer programs such as workshops, school and community group events, tours, activities, birthday parties, spring and summer break camps, and many special events. It's really the, get your hands into the clay, get the paint on the brush, really hands-on programming at the center. We also present festivals like the Alberta Culture Days Festival that we've been participating in partnership with the city for several years. And then we participate in city festivals like, I'm sorry, I'm just getting over laryngitis here. But the Bear Creek Folk Festival, every year we're doing Soapstone with the kids. Even Try It Days, now we're doing activities with the kids. We're the first arts group to be involved with Try It Days in the city. So it's a really great way for us to get in there and get the kids creating. We also facilitate a healing arts program, which I know is near and dear to a few of your hearts. We partner with local social service agencies to offer inclusive programs. Ideally, all of our happy students are able to participate just in our regular mainstream programming, but sometimes people need a little bit of an extra an extra hand to get included in the arts and feel comfortable in the space. So our Happy program is awesome. Last year we had over 4,000 visits through it with almost 1,000 individual students. So it's a fantastic program that helps both any barrier that keeps someone from participating in the arts, whether it's a financial barrier, maybe a physical barrier, we help figure out what's keeping them from participating and get them over the hump so that they can become part of our community. And our Happy students are the greatest. They end up being our most active volunteers, participating in all of our inclusive exhibition opportunities. Our Happy students are awesome. It really helps people to unlock hidden talents and just to feel included in their community, find like-minded individuals, and have like a really positive activity to be included in each week. So I spoke a little bit about our Happy exhibitions, but our gallery is also super full with exhibits all the time. Last year we had 20 exhibits. We've gone as high as 24. I'd say on average it's like 18 to 20. We have 2 gallery spaces that sometimes are for an emerging artist that is looking for a place to break out and share with their neighbors and friends. Other times it's for a local cultural group. So for example, right now we're showing an exhibition of students from Northwestern Polytechnic from their sculpture department. And next month we have an exhibit from the Grande Prairie Guild of Artists. So right from artists that are starting right at the beginning of their career to more like senior artists in our community, it gives them a chance to build their CV, to continue to share with their neighbors, and to exhibit their art regularly. So we're very happy with that. Generally, the first Friday of every month, we have an opening reception, and you guys are always welcome, as everyone is. It's always free to attend our galleries and our gift shop, and it's always local artists that are on display. Our facility is healthy, accessible, functional, and well-equipped. We really pride ourselves in having well-equipped spaces. So we have studios for drawing, painting, photography, sewing, sculpture, pottery. And it's really those like sewing, sculpture, pottery is really where the need is. You know, I paint at my kitchen table and I'd rather paint in our beautiful studios at the center. But when it comes down to doing something like working on pottery, people's home like plumbing systems aren't set up with clay traps, and it's not safe or healthy to work on things like soapstone sculpture at your kitchen table. And so we're really happy to offer that to our community. Each year last year we had over 6,000 individuals take part in our hands-on programming. But anytime that we don't have those classes running, the studios are open and available for artists to drop in. They have to be a member of the center, which is only $25 a year. And then it's a really low cost visit. It's just $6 for them to drop in and use the facility. So it's very similar to using a gym or going to the pool. And those spaces are always booked up. And it also like offers a great opportunity for artists to meet with other artists and collaborate and build their careers. Our facilities are used for our own programs, but they also act as a meeting space for other local arts and cultural groups, such as the Grande Prairie Guild of Artists, the Figure Drawing Club, Prima, the Bear Creek Folk Festival, Artist North. If we're not using our space for our own programs and it's available and an arts or cultural group needs to use it, we are more than happy to share. We love to see ourselves as like a hub for that local cultural gathering. But none of that would be possible without the support of the City of Grande Prairie. So we really appreciate your partnership. We're located in a beautiful city facility, and it makes it possible for us to have magic happen in our community all the time. So thank you very much for your support and your continued partnership.
Okay, thank you very much, Candace. Any questions from the committee? Councillor Bosch.
Good morning, Candace. Thank you for that. I just have a couple of questions. Would you say overall through all your programming, have you seen an increase or decrease throughout 2023?
Increase, definite increase. Coming back from during COVID, arts and cultural organizations, we were shut down for longer than other organizations were shut down. And then as we came back, it just took a little bit of time to get that big wheel moving again. But our numbers for 2023 are exceeding our numbers from 2019. So we have definitely seen an increase. The population to Grande Prairie is growing, and we offer a lot of program for young people. And, Grande Prairie is a young community, so definitely there's more demand.
Just to follow up to that, would you say your capacity is still suitable with the increase, or are you looking to increase capacity in certain ways? We are operating out of what used to be an old courthouse building, and it has been adapted to our needs. But we have different specialized spaces for specialized programs. And right now, for example, our pottery classes, we're running 6 days a week, completely full. So over 100 students easily each week, just in that one program. Other classes, like our sewing class, it's still busy, but it's maybe 4 classes a week, 3 classes a week, but that doesn't mean we want to take over the sewing studio. So anytime you have a facility that has specialized use spaces, there's always some that are going to be a little over capacity, but we just really try and introduce students to the arts that they haven't experienced yet. Thank you. I have one more, but I'll wait till others.
Well, you can go ahead. I see nobody else in the queue.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Just because I don't see it here and I need a reminder, what is your operational costs throughout the year, and what is the contributions from the city?
So our annual operating grant or our annual operating costs are just under $500,000. Our contributions from the city of Grande Prairie, I think, were just under $120,000 last year. So roughly, to just kind of make round numbers, we get about 25% of our contribution from the city of Grande Prairie. 25% of our contribution is from other municipalities, the federal government, other grant sources, and the other 50% is from earned revenue and fundraising.
Perfect. Thank you, Candace.
Thank you.
And one last question from me. Did I read in your report that you're experiencing some pressures for electrical and distribution costs, whatever?
Absolutely. So we're very happy to be housed in a city facility. We appreciate getting a lease at no expense to our organization. What we do wouldn't be possible without that by any means. But that being said, our lease requires us to cover all of the facility-related costs associated with that building. So that includes all of the utility costs, janitorial, waste services, snow removal, security, on and on. And the increase of those costs over the last several years has just been phenomenal. And although we did receive a modest increase to our operating grant last year, it doesn't go anywhere near to covering our costs. And our lease agreement, and honestly just our what we have to do to keep the business running, requires us to apply city grants to those operating costs first. So I'm here presenting really on programming results, but realistically, I could just be presenting on operational facility results. Most of our money just goes into keeping that building operating.
Okay. Any other question? Okay. Thank you, Candace.
All right. Thank you.
And we'll call up our next delegation, Wes Ducharme. Please come to the mic and pull the mic closer to you and introduce yourself for the people online.
Good morning. Thank you very much. My name is Wes Ducharme. I'm a resident of Grande Prairie, of South Patterson in particular. I'm here today to inform council that I'm experiencing on a daily basis speeding, noisy traffic in my neighborhood. and I would like some more enforcement to take care of that problem. I'm also here to maybe suggest some things to maybe help curtail that. I'd like to see more enforcement, such as radar, laser operations, stationary checks at this intersection of 72 Avenue and 100 Street. This intersection is always used as a check stop during long weekends, and I just don't understand why laser or radar operations aren't being conducted at that intersection to help alleviate this speeding, noisy traffic. At that intersection, equipment checks could also be done on these vehicles to make sure that they're operating with legal exhaust systems as well. I would like to see maybe after 6 p.m. on 100 Street, that speed limit reduced to 40 kilometers an hour. I would like to see council make an application to the province to get a photo radar zone at 72 Avenue and 100 Street as well. And, just more enforcement, basically, on that roadway. One of the things about photo radar is that it's supposed to be some sort of a cash cow, saying, I don't see it that way. I think it's a deterrent. And I'd like to see more photo radar units, zones in the city. One of the reasons that the province calls this a boogeyman is that it's supposed to be a cash grab. Well, I'd like to see the city maybe incorporate in their roadway upgrades or infrastructure, building pullouts so enforcement vehicles, officers can sit alongside the highway in safety and monitor traffic. These officers would be able to stop those vehicles and actually write fines to those drivers who will suffer a penalty of demerits. Basically, that's my presentation.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ducharme. I'll look to committee for questions. Mayor Clayton.
Thanks, Chair O'Connor. Thanks for coming today, Mr. Ducharme. I really appreciate that. Could you tell me, specifically in your area, around 72nd and 100, is your primary concern noisy vehicles or is it speed? I know you mentioned both, but you're not the first person that we've heard about noisy vehicles from. Traditionally, we hear more about it along 68th. So because there's a little bit of a bend in the road there, I would assume that the traffic slows down a little bit. But I'm curious, is it something of concern more the speeding you notice or more the noise?
Well, what I find is that the speeding itself, even if that vehicle is not equipped with a loud exhaust system, well, the road noise from the tires, the wind of the vehicle, the RPM of the engine, it's still noisy. It's just a fact because those fossil fuel vehicles are designed that way. And and the trouble is that, like I said, there's no place for the officers to sit safely along the boulevard in that area. And everybody knows once they get south of 75 Avenue, southbound on 100 Street, or north of 68 Avenue, there is no enforcement between that area, those 2 points. It's a speed, but like I said, it's when these vehicles are designed or set up with that exhaust system that just coincides with the acceleration of the vehicle. We make it louder as they do it. That really annoys me, especially when you're in the house and you have the windows open because it's nice out.
Mayor Clayton and then Councillor Bressie.
Thanks, Chair O'Connor. As I said, I appreciate you being here today, and it's perfect timing with the Grande Prairie Police Service representatives as well as the RCMP being here today. So I think my other questions are probably more appropriate for them. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Bressie.
Great, thank you, Chair O'Connor. It's a site where I've paid an expensive ticket about 8 years ago now, so I definitely know how tempting it is, and I know that because of that, I'm always going to speed limit. I'm often getting passed on that road. Just for committee's information, I think it's worth highlighting that on our photo radar map, we do have a photo radar site there, but I don't see it out there very often. And when you look at the risk analysis on there, it's basically all red, which shows that basically, there's a lot of speeding going on along that road. Our own evidence shows. Just thought I'd point that out to committee.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions? Councillor O'Toole.
Yeah, I truly thank you very much for being here to voice your concerns and opinions, and we welcome you anytime you have those concerns.
Thank you.
This is why we're here, so you can. It's open, and I value that. I drive that road occasionally, and I drive a motorcycle, and I drive to the limit because there's no protection except my helmet, and I get passed all the time. And some of these guys are driving modified exhaust on motorcycles, modified diesel exhaust on some of the trucks, and I understand your concerns. And there's limits that we can do, but we can definitely address some of those concerns. And we'll probably talk here in a little bit with the other police officers and find out what we can actually do.
On that point about motorcyclists, there's all that old saying where loud pipes save lives.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not the case. You have drivers out there who are hearing impaired, would not be able to hear that pipe anyway.
Yeah.
I would say that maybe a bylaw requiring motorcyclists in the city to wear a fluorescent vest. That would be a safety aspect. I think that they could live with, whether they like it or not. Also, just one more thing before I forget. There are motorcyclists out there who are removing their license plate fixture, which has the license plate lamp on it, and they're taking that license plate and they're attaching it underneath their fender. Now it does not have a light, and now it's not readable by a photo radar unit. And then there's the guys that are running around with the tinted license plate cover. Stuff like that. If those kinds of things are curtailed, maybe that would kind of help things with traffic as well. People tend to speed when they don't think they're going to get caught.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ducharme. And last question to Councillor Bosch.
It's okay. I think it was asked already, but no, I agree with you in regards to the speeding and the noise, and not only on that street, but several in the city. So I look forward.
I'm sure of it. If it's not looked after in one spot, it's going to snowball. It's just going to.
Yep. I'm very aware of driving through other communities where you just know that there's someone there. And you're correct in saying that it becomes less of a safety issue and a concern to the residents, because people just know to slow down or you will have a ticket. So,
right. Absolutely.
I think, looking forward to our police force and RCMP to look into that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Ducharme. We'll pass that information on and talk to a number of police that are in the room to see what can be done. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Council, for listening to me today.
We'll now move on to reports and look to Chief Lemieux for a serious surface area update.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I'll start with Grande Prairie Police Service and Enforcement Services. So when peace officers have completed their annual pressure point control tactics training, with sessions being hosted through April and May to complete this annual recertification. Enforcement Services welcomed 2 new peace officers to the department this past month, and 2 additional recruits will be starting early next month. The vehicle for hire spring inspections, so the taxi inspections, they concluded on April 25th with the following results. There were 103 vehicles booked, 63 vehicles passed, 30 vehicles failed, 25 vehicles were re-inspected and then passed. 3 vehicles were put out of service, and there were 5 no-shows. So a huge thank you to the team at the Montrose Cultural Centre for allowing us to host inspections in their parkade again this year. From the RCMP on Sunday, May the 19th, the Grande Prairie Municipal RCMP members conducted a proactive traffic operations in the community and issued a number of speeding tickets. And on Monday, May 20th, the Grande Prairie Municipal RCMP executed a search warrant on a residence in the city of Grande Prairie. As a result, several firearms and imitation firearms were seized from the residence, and a male suspect was charged in relation to this file. On Wednesday, May 22nd, Grande Prairie Municipal RCMP received calls for 5 stolen vehicles. Through a coordinated response, 4 of the 5 vehicles were recovered, and 2 of the vehicles were located with suspects who were arrested. From the fire department, Grande Prairie Fire Department responded to a fire in the Crystal Lake recreation area on Sunday evening. The fire was brought under control within 2 hours. There were no damage to any structures, and the fire is currently under investigation. The cause of the fire has not yet been determined. From GPREP Emergency Management, GPREP was activated on May 11th, 2024 to assist with the Kleskin Creek fire in the county of Grande Prairie. The Kleskin Creek fire was declared under control on May the 19th. From Community Social Development, the FCSS team from the city and the county, the towns of Beaver Lodge, Sexsmith, and Wembley, invite local seniors to the biannual Seniors Tea presented by Catwalk Compression Limited. The event is on Thursday, June the 13th from 12:30 to 3 p.m. at the Terra Center at Evergreen Park. And this free event celebrates Seniors Week, and people can register on the city or county website for that event. Registration need to be in by June the 5th. And from Housing and Homeless Initiatives, the 7 Cities Housing Support Forum will be held June 12th to 14th by Homeward Trust in Edmonton. This is a collaboration with 7 cities and hosting a gathering of stakeholders and practitioners committed to ending homelessness in our province. And our own team will be presenting at that event. They'll be presenting on building a diverse housing continuum. The Street Outreach Center remodel on the top floor has been completed, and this will allow for 11 emergency spaces when required. From the Community Knowledge Campus, the Aquaterra Outdoor Pool is gearing up to open for the season on Friday, June the 7th at the Here Comes Summer community event. And exciting offerings taking place throughout 2024 season include theme nights, youth nights, Grand Access Pass member BFF Bring a Friend for free event, swimming lessons, aquatic fitness classes, and more. With regards to aquatic certification, I'm pleased to report that 11 students recently completed their Bronze Cross lifeguard course instructed by our own Eastlink Center aquatics instructors, and this brings them one step closer in exploring an aquatic career path as a lifeguard or swim instructor. So that's really good news. And finally, from Sport Development, Wellness, and Culture at the museum, the Heritage Village is now open for the season. Residents are encouraged to come down and view the historical and replica buildings relocated and restored from the Grande Prairie area. And in terms of neighborhood associations, a neighborhood association workshop is being held on June the 5th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Grande Prairie Museum, and will focus on projects being proposed by neighborhoods and the role of city departments in working with the neighborhood associations. So, Mr. Chair, that's my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Yes, we do have one person in the queue, actually 2. Councillor O'Toole.
Very much, Councillor O'Connor. Chief Lemieux, I was just wondering, you mentioned the students that have achieved some life-saving skills for lifeguards. Is that put through possibly through the school system, or is that, I'm wondering if they were able to get credits for that?
That's a good question. I don't have the answer to that, but I will get the answer and circulate it to council.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chief Lemieux. Can we, I have a question regarding the fire at Crystal Lake. I was just wondering if you're open for a question in regards of doing a plan for fire smarting that area, because there was a lot of deadfall, and I'm just wondering, is there any plans to do something with that?
Thank you for the question, Mr. Chair. So definitely we're aware of some cleanup that could occur in that area. We're prioritizing the monies that we received through the Fire Smart program Most of the work this year will probably be done on the South Bear Creek area. However, we have done inspections in the Crystal Park area also. We realize there's some work to be done, so we'll make sure that's on the list, and we'll prioritize that according to the risk.
Okay. Thank you very much. We'll now move to... sorry, Mayor Clayton, I missed you there.
Thanks, Chair O'Connor. Chief Lemieux, I'm looking to learn a little bit more about the St. Lawrence Center, and so I'm wondering if appropriate, possibly they come and give committee a update on their activities, or if it's something that internally you've done recently and maybe you can update council on. I don't really want to spend time on it today, but I'd like to learn more about their operations, their activities, their residents, stuff like that.
Thank you through the chair.
Sorry, people don't live there, but.
I think that's a fair request, and I can report that recently the city manager and myself did a tour of both Wapiti House and the St. Lawrence Street Outreach Center. So I think it'd be appropriate to ask someone from the St. Lawrence Center to come and present to committee, so we'll make that happen.
Thank you so much.
Okay. And Councillor Bressy.
Great, thank you, Chair O'Connor. Mayor Clayton, I've actually been meaning to mention to you that at the last police commission meeting, maybe it was the one before, but at a recent police commission meeting, Councillor O'Toole and I got to sit through a presentation with Wapiti House St. Lawrence Center, and I've been meaning to say, hey, we should ask for the same presentation to council.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you for that. And now we'll move, and I'll get Chief Lemieux to introduce the next item on Grande Prairie Police.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the next presentation report will be the Grande Prairie Police Committee and Grande Prairie RCMP. So I'll invite the chair of the committee, Mr. Dan Wong, and our superintendent, Mr. Lee Brockman, to the table.
When you get comfortable, please introduce yourself for the camera.
Thank you, Chair O'Connor, Mayor Clayton, Council, and Administration. My name is Dan Wong. I'm the chair of the Policing Committee, and I'm joined today by Superintendent Lee Brockman, who is the officer in charge of the Grande Prairie Detachment. On behalf of the Grande Prairie Policing Committee, I'm pleased to be with you here today to present the 2023 third quarter community policing report, the 2024-25 annual performance plan, and the crime gauges for the 2022-2023, as well as the first quarter of 2023-24 year. Just as a background, on June 26, Council amended Bylaw C 1455 to establish a policing committee with the membership made up of the current police commission members. The policing committee held their first meeting on July 13th, at which time we established our policy and procedure manual, elected a chair and vice chair, and appointed our public complaint director. The committee is subject to all requirements outlined in the Police Act and Alberta Policing Oversight Standards for policing committees, and oversees the administration of the MPSA for the City of Grande Prairie. Committee meets monthly along with the RCMP Detachment Commander, Superintendent Brockman, and his Staff Sergeant, Mark McDougald. We receive updates on contract policing within Grande Prairie, as well as monthly reporting on RCMP member complaints. To date, the committee has also received presentations from General Investigation and the Drug Unit, increasing our understanding of policing in the city. If you want to follow along in your package, I'll talk about the 2023-24 fourth quarter community policing report and crime trends. In the fourth quarter report, we were notified of the new Deputy Commissioner for K Division, Deputy Commissioner Hill. He's focused on community engagement, employee wellness, and recruitment. We're looking forward to the positive impact Deputy Commissioner Hill's leadership will have on our community over the next few years. In the report, community consultations continue to be a focus in the fourth quarter of 2023 and 24, completing 27 meetings with various stakeholder groups in Grande Prairie. The 4 priorities identified in the 2023-24 performance plan continued to progress and in many cases exceeded set targets. Staffing continues to be a challenge, with the 2023-24 year being finalized at 9 hard vacancies and several officers being off various leaves. Superintendent Brockman continues to focus on the front line to ensure proper coverage. On the crime trends page, it shows a 9% increase in persons crimes from 2022 to 2023, but the first quarter of 2024 saw a lower increase of 5%. Other criminal code stats show a 19% increase from 22 to 23, with a first quarter increase of 54% over the same period last year. We also see that property crime had a 7% decrease from 2022 to 23 and continued a downward trend by another 16% in the first quarter of 2024. Keep in mind that these are quarterly comparisons, which show early indications, but the year-end totals could vary due to seasonal patterns. Superintendent Brockman continues to analyze and monitor these trends to track patterns and adjust resources where needed. If you look at your 2024-2025 annual performance plan, the community policing report and stakeholder engagements are integral to the development of the annual performance plan. In November of 2023, Superintendent Brockman and his team held 3 town halls to engage the public in identifying needs and developing policing priorities. On March 27th of this year, members of the Policing Committee, the Mayor, City Manager, GPPS Chief Lacusta, we all met with Superintendent Brockman to discuss the findings of the town halls and provide input on policing priorities for the new year. The approved 2024-2025 annual performance plan identifies 3 policing priorities: collaborating with partners in the transition to a municipal police service, enhancing community relations to build trust and confidence in the RCMP, and crime reduction. Superintendent Brockman is committed to working with Grande Prairie Police Service to facilitate a successful transition from the RCMP to a municipal service, ensuring to maintain a respectful work environment for all RCMP and GPPS members, are one team focusing on public safety in the city of Grande Prairie. The detachment will work towards building a community-led multi-agency hub committee to address root causes of social disorder and the unhoused. To address rising crimes of persons and criminal code offenses, Superintendent Brockman will research and analyze causes and drivers using information obtained to adjust resources. Community safety will be enhanced through intelligence-led policing and proactive patrols targeting drugs and organized crime. Thank you, and at this time, we're open to receiving questions from the committee and council.
Any, Councillor Bosch?
Thank you, Chair O'Connor. On your 2024 versus 2023 interactive map there, the 54% increase in the other criminal code offenses, can you just allude to what the other means?
Thank you for the question, Councillor Bosch, through the chair. What I can say is the other criminal code category is kind of a catch-all for offenses that are neither persons crime nor property crime. So things like disturbing the peace, things like failing to attend court, other things related to failing to comply with various court-imposed conditions. So quite often, when we see an increase there, one of our priorities is crime reduction, focusing specifically on habitual offenders who have court-imposed conditions. And one of our proactive approaches to that is to ensure that we are following up to ensure that those offenders are held accountable by periodically checking up on those conditions. And so that has led to an increase in failed to comply and breach files, which I believe is the primary driver of that increase. So when I see something like that, that's related to proactive policing, what I'd ideally like to see is a decrease in another substantive area like property crime or persons crime, something like that. One thing doesn't the proactive approach definitely has a contributing effect, I think, in other areas too, right? So if we're holding offenders accountable and if they're not able to offend, without being taken into account before the courts, then we'll see other increases in other areas. So that to me is the primary driver there.
Additionally, the reduction in theft of motor vehicles compared to what's happening nationally, I'm happy to see that decline. I don't want to say it too loud, but that's a really good number to see. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
If I I can just elaborate on the other criminal code too. If you look at the number, it's actually 803 for the first quarter. If you look at the year end for 2023 was 3,200. 800 times 4 is essentially 3,200. So it is still tracking pretty much at the same level, but the first quarter just happened to see us more activity.
Thank you.
If there's no other questions, okay, go ahead, Mayor Clayton.
Thanks. I just need a moment.
Okay. While you're doing that, I would like to know on the one chart on the page, I think it's 18, where it shows a 25% almost across the board on the last 4 numbers. Can you elaborate as to why those numbers are very consistent to each other?
Just tell us what report you're
I'm on the RCMP 2023-2024. It is page 9 of 12. And it's provincial code traffic, other traffic, criminal code traffic. They're all down consistently 25%. Just curious as to why that is.
Yeah, so part of the reduction there for the criminal code traffic is very likely due to right now in terms of so criminal code traffic would be things like impaired driving, criminal code, other dangerous driving that is a criminal code offense, things like that. Right now we are processing a lot of our impaired driving through provincial legislation, so that is kind of having an impact on some of the other criminal code numbers. Overall, in terms of our provincial code traffic, I can advise that we did see some challenges in 2023 relative to traffic enforcement as well. So that could also explain some of the decrease there.
Okay, thank you. Mayor Clayton? Okay, thank you very much. If there's no other questions, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
And is there a business arising? I'd like to have someone move the business. Okay, go ahead, Councillor O'Toole.
Thank you, Chair O'Connor. I move the committee receive this report for information.
Okay, that is in order. Call the question.
Councillor Bosch in favor.
That is carried unanimously, and now we will thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming in. Appreciate it. Oh, you're probably going to stay. I'll pass this over to Chief Lemieux to be able to introduce the next portion of the meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the next report is from the Grande Prairie Police Commission and Grande Prairie Police Service. So I'll invite Mr. Dan Wong and Chief Lacusta. And just for committee's information, we plan on having these updates at least twice a year to this committee, but more frequently if committee wishes. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead. Please introduce yourselves for the camera.
Thank you, Chair O'Connor. So again, I'm Dan Wong, this time sitting as the chair of the Grande Prairie Police Commission, and I'm joined today by Police Chief Dwayne Lacusta. Also with us today is Superintendent John Respet in the gallery and our Executive Director, Laurie Sittler. So on behalf of the Police Commission, I'm pleased to be here to present the 2024 first quarter transition update, along with the 2023 GPPS financial report and the first quarter 2024 GPPS budget update. Quick update on what we've been up to as a commission over the last several months. The commission has continued to monitor the police transition and the funds provided by the government of Alberta to ensure the citizens of Grande Prairie are not burdened with the costs of what will be a successful transition in policing services. The MNP report has provided us with a well laid out plan for the transition, but as with all large scale projects, various factors contribute to our progress relative to the plan. Chief Lacusta and his team have been diligent in moving forward and focused on building up a police service that is best for the community. As they work through the transition, the realities of many external factors have required adjustment along the way. The Commission is confident that the overall transition remains on track to be completed within the time frame anticipated and within the projected cost estimates. If you look at your 2024 first quarter transition update, the first quarter 2024 saw significant progress in the transition. GPPS took over command and control of the municipal enforcement services and mobile outreach, integrating their services for a tiered public safety model. Reviews of municipal enforcement services, mobile outreach, and the public security unit were conducted with a focus on establishing the most effective and efficient model. The municipal enforcement review resulted in a more responsive peace officer program, as well as the development of a peace officer community engagement team. While this was done while the public security unit is being phased out. The community engagement team will focus on social disorder in the downtown core and park systems. 6 new peace officers were welcomed to the team, and 2 internal candidates were promoted to sergeant positions. The review of mobile outreach is being finalized and will see improvements identified to better serve the community. The Police Transition Governance Committee, made up of local, provincial, and national RCMP, Public Safety Canada, the Ministry of Public Safety and Emergency Services, and the GPPS executive team, continue to meet on a regular basis to address transition needs. An HR plan, assignment agreement, and memorandums of agreement are being developed and finalized. Potential issues are worked through at this level to ensure working pillars have what they need to move forward. The first experienced police officer class was sworn in yesterday morning and are completing their training requirements to be integrated into the detachment under the RCMP. The initial class will consist of 5 members, 1 staff sergeant, 1 sergeant, 1 detective, and 2 constables, all with varying experience. Graduation for them is scheduled for the later part of June. The service received almost 200 applications for the first recruit class, and were so pleased of the caliber and diversity of the applicants that they increased the class size from 8 to 12 members. The recruitment and training section has moved into offices at Northwestern Polytechnic, providing a place for citizens and prospective candidates to learn about GPPS. NWP finalized the Indigenous education component of training and will be providing new recruits with information and training on Indigenous matters within Grande Prairie area. The emergency vehicle operations course venue has been secured, and Eastlink has provided space for all controlled tactics training components. The service continues to procure equipment for officers and recruits. The first 2 service-branded vehicles were unveiled, and we have received very positive feedback on them. The next order of 10 new police vehicles have begun to arrive and will be outfitted and branded shortly. If you turn to your 2023 GPPS financial report, you'll see that the 2023 report shows an underspend of $1.5 million in the transition grant funds. This underspend is mostly due to leadership, policing, and civilian positions that were recruited later than anticipated, lowering the spend on training due to delay in recruiting, a reduction in office expenses due to the delay in moving to Cedar Point, and delays in procurement of equipment and vehicles. The capital budget for fleet expenditures also shows an underspend of $534,000 due to long lead times required for ordering. Chief Lacusta and his team have focused their efforts on getting the infrastructure and systems created that will allow them to move quickly as things fall into place. Many of these expenditures will be realized in 2024. You flip now to your 2024 first quarter transition budget. The 2024 transition operating budget is expected to utilize $5.9 million of the transition grant. This is approximately $256,000 more than originally budgeted, but supports a more successful transition by providing positions that were not funded until later, shown in the MNP report. For example, IT is an integral role that needs to be more front-loaded than was anticipated in the MNP report. The 2023 unspent funds will offset this increase and keep a net $1.26 million in the transition budget for future years. So I apologize, when we reviewed these 2024 financial statements, we didn't realize we should have put the number in brackets to show you that that is a carry forward amount, that it's showing as revenue and not an expense. The capital budget is also anticipated to be $326,000 more than what was originally budgeted, but these funds are also covered off from the $534,000 carryover from 2023. So overall, it's anticipated that 2024 will have carryover amounts to move into 2025 as GPPS becomes operational and recruiting and training begin to ramp up. So that concludes our first quarter update, and we're open to any questions that you may have.
Okay, I'll look to committee for any questions. Councillor Bosch.
Thank you, Chair O'Connor. Thank you for the report. Can you tell us, with this community engagement team coming online predominantly this month and fully engaged in June, how is this tiered public safety model working with our RCMP in collaboration? How are you handling that process?
Great question, Councillor. So we've reached out to Superintendent Brockman to advise them of our plans to deploy the officers who are out right now in a limited capacity. We have 4. But what we'd like to see is to have that collaboration between the RCMP as well, so we can show that transition that we're working together, but also with the common goal of public safety. So our intent is to utilize the RCMP where we can when they're available.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Seeing none, I will someone do business for me, please. Councillor Bosch.
Thank you, Chair. I move committee receive this report for information.
Call the question. Carried unanimously. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Councillor Bosch
Sorry,
in favor.
I don't think everybody's done voting. So.
My screen doesn't come up, so I have to say it.
Mayor Clayton in favor.
Little aggressive here this morning. Thank you. Carried unanimously. Thank you very much for coming in and speaking and for the update.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
We'll now go to item 8, outstanding oil list. Chief Lemieux.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The list remains the same other than 1301 is scheduled for Q2, but we'd like to have that moved to Q3 because the engagement with the taxi industry is taking a little bit longer than we anticipated. Other than that, everything remains the same.
And thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Chair O'Connor. I move the committee receive the May 28th outstanding items list as amended for information.
Okay. Call the question.
Councillor Bosch in favor.
That's carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Now I need a motion for us to go in camera.
So moved.
Okay, just as a point of order, we should let the mayor had to step out for a second, so I think we should wait for the mayor. Okay, that's fine. That's in order then. I've been informed. Call a question.
In favor.
Okay. And one. Welcome, everyone. We're back from being in camera and business rising. Mayor Clayton.
Thanks, Chair O'Connor. My comments and my potential think about the motion here are in regards to the delegation that we had earlier. Previous council and this council have heard in regards to safety concerns on certain areas of our streets. We know that there's a moratorium with the provincial government in regards to accessing new photo radar equipment. We heard previously that there were potential reductions in staffing hours on ATEs. We also have heard over numerous years in regards to noise concerns adjacent to 68 Avenue, along 100th, on 84th. And I think that there needs to be some information brought forward to council, or rather to committee for consideration. In my interpretation, this is not a preying on people. You'll hear people upset when they get a ticket for window tinting, and this is not that council or public safety has a concern in regards to being unfair or unreasonable in regards to our expectations. This comes down to the fact that we know, evidence shows, that our community is safer when we have an optimal amount of photo radar. We know statistically that we have less traffic collisions when our community is driving the speed limit. Therefore, less public injuries. And we know that significant noise is disruptive to people. We have an incredible community to live in. And the end of the day, when it's disrupted by people's arrogance and ignorance, by revving up their engines, by doing things that are disruptive, that it's not fair to those who are trying to enjoy a nice quality of life. So my ask, and I'll ask Chief Lemieux maybe for some support here. I would like to see, and if my motion is appropriate, let me know. I would direct Chief Lemieux work with GPPS and the RCMP to bring back a plan for and alternatives for policing noise levels in residential areas. That's part of it, and if you think that's appropriate, just let me know. And it's just to bring back a report to this standing committee.
Yeah, I think that's appropriate.
Okay. And with that, it can be a subsequent motion if you prefer, but I'd like to see a plan for, what our plan, actually, no, I know the plan. What my comments are in regards to the photo radar. We know where the province stands on that. We know it's a prior identified advocacy priority for this council. So I'm comfortable with that for now. There's some things that are happening in the works, so we'll leave that one. But in particular into the noise, I think I'd like to see what an integrated approach between the RCMP and GPPS could look like. And it come back to this committee for input. Thank you.
Do we need a motion on that?
So the motion is in there.
I do not see it.
Just refresh maybe. It's coming. (9.2). There we go. Committee direct administration to work with Grande Prairie Police Service, RCM and RCMP to bring back a plan and alternatives for policing noise level within residential areas.
Okay.
That represents my intent. Thanks.
Okay. That motion is in order. Any discussion before? Councillor Bosch.
And bring back to this standing committee. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're not talking about any arterial roads in any of this either? Because I can say like 132nd Ave and
Yep. My preference is adjacent to residential areas. But,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know if this fits within your motion or it needs a separate motion. I'm just curious where we sit currently with check stops on like truck and holiday trailers and hauling trailers and making sure that these units are safe. I know I've been stopped in other communities where they check the truck and they check the trailer, the hookups, everything that goes with it. I don't know if we're doing that. I just haven't
Yeah.
seen it. I don't know. And then the commercial vehicles, I know that's a separate enforcement, but I would like to know where we are on those type of levels with commercial vehicles being reviewed and regulated.
Yeah, I think that's an external issue, so
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will double check. We used to have commercial vehicle inspection certification, people that could do that work. I'll confirm whether we still do or not, and the frequency of those inspections.
Right. And then the holiday trailers and such. I think that's important as well, that we have.
I'll follow up on both of those.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
thank you. Any other questions regarding the motion? If not, call the question.
Councillor Bosch in favor.
Mayor Clayton in favor.
That is carried unanimously. We'll take that forward. And with that, we'll, if there's no other, sorry,
There's one other item.
okay. Councillor Thiessen?
Yes, sir. Just a comment. I know that they're still in-house here, but to our police service, I know that there was a report that was done to the City of Grande Prairie on noise levels back in 2020 based off 2019. I believe it's a Golder report. You can find it on cityofgp.com. So it's an important resource. One thing that I will comment about that has sort of sat with me over time is the Golder report essentially said that there are little spikes, but on an overall average, we don't have any of those noise complaints. I think it's because if all the average fell below a decibel level, but when you look at the charts in the appendices, you can see that in some of them they get to 75, 80 decibels. And I think that's kind of what we're trying to tackle here. I would be willing to wager that if we took the average speed of drivers in the City of Grande Prairie, it'd always fall within the speed limit, but we're catching those odd ducks that are out there. So yeah, it's maybe put a bit of a lens on that so we can magnify kind of the results and what we want out of it. Thank you.
Okay, Mayor Clayton?
Thanks, Chair O'Connor. I would move that committee recommend council undertake a process of selling City on 99 with the facility being listed for sale for a maximum of 5 months.
Okay, that motion is order. Any discussion?
I'm happy to take wordsmithing from my colleagues.
Once we see it in the queue, anyone wanting to see any changes? If not, I'll call the question.
Mayor Clayton in favor.
Councillor Bosch in favor.
Okay, that carried unanimously. And if there is no other business, how long a break are we going to take before I adjourn the meeting?
So just a couple things for consideration. I'm actually going to leave because I need to go to the proclamation with Reeve Marshall for Stampede. There are still three standing committees. I will be back in time for the Invest GP standing committee. So I will be vacating, but I don't know who chairs the next committee.
Okay.
3 minutes, probably.
5 minutes? Okay, we'll take a 5-minute break.